Hey everybody, it's after 11, it's a work night for both of us, and we just got done.
We're young.
Screw it, that's right, we're young, we're fucking young, and we're about to talk
I work
about
my bed anyway, so
right.
You know.
And we're about to talk about the all-new film, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, the reboot of the Resident Evil franchise. There's no connection to the Paul W.S. Anderson films, which...
Like, we know who Paul W.S. Anderson is.
Yeah, he directed the Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, the Mila, there we go. There's someone we know, Mila Jovovich.
I remember, like, one of the very first after the movies I ever did was on the final chapter, and we actually did see it together.
Wasn't great.
It was one of the most atrocious movie-going experiences I can remember. I watched all 6 of those terrible, terrible movies within a span of a week, and the only one I enjoyed out of all of them, to be honest, was Resident Evil 4, because the ending was so freaking hilarious. Like, it just got so ridiculous that I was laughing so hard, and, like, my favorite thing about those movies was just the guy playing Wesker in, like, 4. Like, he was hilarious, but I did not like those films really at all. They're pretty bad. There's maybe a few hokey, funny moments, but it was a chore to sit through those 6 films. But this one's a straight-up reboot. It's definitely a little bit more faithful, I felt, to the source material. Like, I haven't beaten the original Resident Evil. I've beaten 5. I played a lot of 3 because it was like I had this game called Dino Crisis from the same director of Resident Evil, and there was like a demo disc that came with it, which was Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And I always remember Nemesis, like, just having this foreboding impact on them. But, so this one, it's directed by the guy who made 47 Meters Down, which is a film I actually did like. Because 47 Meters Down, it started out kind of like bad, and then once it got into them in the shark cage, it was extremely well crafted and very suspenseful. So this is the same director, rebooted the franchise, and it was pretty decent, which is a great thing to say about the live-action Resident Evil films. This is by far the best, and it's only pretty decent. Definitely not a bad movie by any stretch of the words. I think they were very close to achieving a pretty good movie, but a pretty decent, you know what? That's high fucking praise for me for this series.
You know, it's a horror movie, and it's like, you know, it's a video game. Video game movies already have a pretty low bar for exactly which one has ever been good. You know, so I think you'll be happy when you see it. Definitely, if you like the horror films. If you like Resident Evil, it's pretty close. The first and second games, you'll have to forgive me, I haven't played those in like 21 years or something
right,
like that.
When I walked in the mansion, I'm like, okay, I remember that this is from like Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, it's like they combine like the first 2 games basically kind of into one movie, like the mansion from the first one and then the escape from like the second one. So
yeah, so they got that in there, and in terms of actors, I recognized a few people. There was that guy who was in like Blade. I'm forgetting the guy's name. He was in Blade. He also played Harvey Bullock on Gotham. He was like the police chief. He was probably the smartest character in the movie. He's just like, I'm getting the hell out of here. And then, like, as soon as he tries to leave, like, Umbrella Corporation locks down the whole city, and he heads all the way back. And there's some funny stuff with him. There's a few CW actors I did see, like, from the Arrowverse. Like, Neil McDonough is like one of the villains in the movie, and like he gets shot and then he morphs into some weird hybrid looking creature thing. Chris Redfield, like, there's a lot of characters from the games.
I think they got all of them, didn't they? Jill, Chris.
Yeah, they got Jill, Chris, they got Wesker, they got Ada Wong in like kind of like a credit sequence.
Yeah, they got like the whole Alpha team though in.
Right, they got pretty much most of the people, at least to my knowledge, from the first few games. But it was actually a pretty decent adaptation. Like, when it started out, I was actually pretty into it, and then like it kind of cut away and did like the whole, it's a dream sequence or it's not a dream sequence, and there's kind of a bit of like heavy exposition dump scenes, which are like, oh, hey, welcome to Raccoon City, population this, and like, I'm like, they don't feel like normal conversation, just feel like, okay, we're just kind of setting up the exposition. And I feel like that's kind of an issue, like the setup, like with this director, I feel like there's always some issues with kind of the setups, but when it comes to actually crafting the suspenseful sequences, he does a pretty decent job. Like, you get your zombie, whatever you want to call them, like infected kills. It is a pretty gory movie, but there's restraint and there's actual like decent directing going on here.
It wasn't over the top cheesy either, except for like kind of the end.
Right. Oh,
scene.
The ending scene.
I can live with that.
That made me laugh my ass off. I guess, spoilers from this point onward. But I do think if you're a Resident Evil fan, if you sat through the other films, this one is much better than all 6 of those other terrible, terrible movies.
Yeah, like, as a standalone horror movie, even without being a Resident Evil fan, it's pretty good. I haven't played the games in a very long time, but I enjoyed it, certainly. And I think you don't really need to even know the game source material to think it's pretty
right,
good.
And there's definitely a lot of, like, nods to the games and fan service. Like, there's a mid-credit sequence with a character who shows up that's pretty much just, oh, hey, we're going to try and do another one, but it's not as obnoxious as what they did. It's just so much better directed than those other 6 films, and, like, I actually, like, it actually took time to breathe, and...
It actually felt like a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, what a concept.
Yeah, it actually did feel like a movie, but there's some bits that did kind of, like, almost kind of pay tribute to the hokey video game-ness. Like, the ending for sure felt like, okay, this is something you'd see in a video game. Like, it felt like, okay, this is utterly ridiculous, but...
At least they explained where you got the rocket launcher from.
Yeah, like, just all of a sudden, one of the guys just pulls out a rocket launcher, and he just blows this thing up at the end, and I'm like, where the hell did you get a rocket launcher? It makes me think of Anchorman, where they're having that big fight, and it's like, Brick, where'd you get a hand grenade? I don't know.
But see, they explained it in this movie. You're just conveniently sitting in first class. So, you know, there's an exposition. I mean,
right, that's who was, like, the funniest bit in the movie. Like, okay, like, and like I said, there is some funny stuff in the film.
Leon's an amusing character because he's very incompetent.
Right, he's the most incompetent. Like, there's a lot of kind of dumb bits in it, too. Like, the one guy trapped in the jail cell who's pointing the gun at Leon, and I'm like... He knows this guy's coughing up blood. He knows what the T-virus is. He knows about Umbrella Corp. Why he doesn't just shoot the thing that's in the cell is beyond me. Because it
wasn't a smart moment, because I thought the same thing.
Right, there are some dumb kind of character moments. There's some smart ones, too, but...
Like the chief getting the hell out of there,
Yeah, the chief's just like, I'm getting the fuck out of the city. I'm done. I'm getting out of this shithole place. You all can just... do your thing.
The characters seem smart by horror movie standards for the most part.
Right. Like they're thinking kind of rationally. Like, okay, how do I kind of get out of this situation here? Like I said, there's definitely some restraint showcased in this movie, whereas in the other films they were so over the top, just ridiculous, and just trying to be action films with no real substance, or I don't know, like building suspense or trying to craft a decent story with the source material that they were given. Like, this one was a pretty decent adaptation, I think, of the first 2 games with some elements of going into the future in that. But pretty decent is a miracle for a live-action Resident Evil film.
I mean, it's kind of decent miracle for horror movie standards, I feel like, these days.
Well, you just gotta know what to see.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't want to know what to see. I want it to hit me right in the face.
That's true. Like, it's kind of with any genre, too. I mean, look at comic book movies. Like, there's some... really terrible ones.
Yeah, thanks, DC.
To be fair, DC had the best one this year.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Like, the Suicide Squad was the best one this year. It was better than Black Widow. I haven't seen Eternals yet.
I haven't seen 10 Rings. I've heard good things about it.
That one's pretty decent. Like, I actually like that one. Venom, Let There Be Carnage is it's funny. It's just a goofy romantic comedy.
The movie needed to be R, and it wasn't. I felt
right. Like, Venom Let There Be Carnage is already a ridiculous concept, and it just made me laugh. So that's kind of where my
we're getting pretty far off topic when we're breaking down other movies on the movie review.
Yeah, but
might as well just start discussing episode 8 at this point.
No.
JK, no, we'll be here for another 3 hours.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Resident Evil Let There Be Carnage. Welcome to Raccoon City. It's a reboot of the series.
Yeah.
It's better than the other films. Not an amazing film by any standards, but a pretty decent...
It's a simple,
it's
concept
a simple,
movie.
Pretty decent. There's some good shots in here. It actually takes its time to get going and kind of immerse yourself into the world a bit. It's not overdone. There's definitely some restraint showcased, and I think that made it better than what I was expecting. I didn't even know this movie was coming out this week until you reminded me. I didn't even watch a trailer. I hardly saw any advertising for this thing. When I heard Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, I thought it was just another video game in the series, but then it's like, oh, it's another adaptation. I'm like, okay. Because with the other Resident Evil films, they're just like they got overly advertised and all that other stuff. This one, I didn't even know was coming out.
There was a good crowd there. There was a lot of people. Some people were acting like jackasses, but
some jackass, like, as the movie's beginning, is just having the
flash. They took 7 selfies.
They took like 7 selfies, and some hero in the crowd was just like, turn off your fucking phone.
God, I like that guy.
I wanted to just, like, because I was about to say something myself, and then someone beat me to it. It's like, fucking people are ruining my immersive cinematic experience.
I know. It's like, don't be a jackass. Like,
The movie starts.
Yeah.
Put your phone away.
I know it's not a great movie, but I spent my $5 fucking. It's $5 American dollars to go to this film.
Right, exactly. And like, you're being a jackass taking selfies for what? Your 10 followers on Instagram? Hey guys, I'm at the movies. Let me take pictures and be an asshole. And here's oh look, there's somebody flipping me off behind me.
Yeah, and you can do this like before the movie starts. Go like sit in the theater early and like take a picture.
Right, like as the movie's going on and they're trying to like build suspense and showcase a scene when some jackass is taking selfies in there and they're like running up and down the seats. And then I saw them too. They walked down the stairs to the side and you could still see the flash going because they're so preoccupied with themselves rather than like, why even come to the movies then?
It was bizarre. I mean, this is like a dark movie, as you kind of could imagine. There's not really a lot of light. The whole thing takes place, from like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's like after it was late.
So any light, is going to disrupt it from a cell phone because it is a dark ambient. It is kind of cartoonish in its looks too. Like Raccoon City looks like a very stereotypical Midwestern town, and it's kind of exaggerated, which I guess was part of like
you could really I really didn't get the sense of environment with this town, like the town itself, because it just like it was so dark and it was like just kind of a few lights that kind of lit it up, and it was pretty obvious it was just kind of a CGI.
There's not really a lot of sets in it. 'Cause they go to like the diner, they go to the mansion, they go
to the
police station, they go to their house. It's really I mean
that's about it. So
but yeah, the police station looked pretty cartoonish, like in the way it was designed. Like it had the big swinging gate up front.
Right. It definitely felt like kind of some of the games. Like the mansion looked like it did from the game, at least what I remember from the first game. So
it was good. The other thing I didn't like, some of the scenes were like way too dark. Like, part where they're shooting zombies.
There's I guess it's meant to add tension, but like that just kind of takes where you can't see what's happening. It's kind of that Batman Begins thing where like. It may work for like when you're building up to the first appearance, but after that, let me see the action. Like, stop trying to like cover it up with the constant flashes and all that. I don't know. That didn't really work for me. So
yeah, that I would fix. They're gonna make a sequel to this definitely.
It's definitely like lower budget.
Yeah, this will make a lot of money probably.
Yeah, the Resident Evil movies make a ton of money overseas, even if they don't like do well.
I mean, it was crowded in there too. So I mean,
was this opening night?
Technically tomorrow, but you know how they release things. Early,
I didn't realize that. So.
Yeah, that's why I asked you to go today, because it comes out Wednesday the 24th. So we're on the cutting edge of bad cinema here. We were seeing movies before they even come out for your entertainment.
So
yeah. Yep. But final thoughts, I guess. This isn't a complex movie, so we don't need a 3-hour rant for this one like James Bond or Episode 8. I guess I'd give it like a 7.2.
Pretty decent, 6.5.
Yeah, that's good.
I think 6.5 is like as far as I go. There could have been ways to make it stronger, maybe make the characters a little bit better, but they weren't really awful people. They weren't really obnoxious or annoying. That's the thing. It was fine.
They're kind of one-dimensional characters.
Right, they're kind of one-dimensional.
They're not very developed.
The best one is the police chief.
Yeah.
By far. Nobody else could, like, touch him.
Leon gets some development, too, I would say.
Right, but, like, everyone else is just kind of okay. Like I said, like, it's okay, fine, decent is where I... Yeah. With a really good police chief, like is the most entertaining character in the movie. But like I said, pretty decent is a miracle for a live action Resident Evil movie.
You don't feel cheated?
I don't feel cheated because I didn't see any trailers or anything for this thing, and I had no expectations because it's a live action Resident Evil movie. I've suffered through 6 of them. And
they're not that bad. They're not good.
Oh no! The final chapter is
The first one I thought was pretty enjoyable.
No, rewatch it again, and you will experience the early 2000s piece of shit.
I like the early 2000s piece of shit with the terrible new metal. That's good. Did they play any new metal in that movie? I don't know.
They played this is set in the 90s. I didn't realize it was gonna be a 90s movie. Apparently.
Well, the game was 90s.
Yeah, I know, but like I didn't expect it to be.
Yeah, they got the dates lined up too, so they.
Yep, they played. And I run sometimes. What's going on?
Well, Four Non-Blondes. That's not a very good song, but
I just know it from that He-Man parody where they just like it's like He-Man, and then it has Skeletor. And it's like, hey, what's going on?
No, it actually kind of fits too, because like the guy's sitting in his helicopter, like in the game, and then the zombies attack him when he's listening to what's going on.
Right.
Like, because you don't know what's going on.
You know my main
There's
takeaway
zombies.
from this? Let's make a Dino Crisis movie. That's what I was thinking of, because we got like a Resident Evil reboot, same director and all that. Give me a goddamn Dino Crisis movie.
Dino Crisis wasn't as successful as a game. I remember playing
They made
it,
like
but-
2 or 3 Dino Crisis,
That-
but Dino Crisis 1 was great. That game scared the shit out of me when I was younger.
Yeah, I mean they like remake the same Resident Evil games like over and over. Because how many are there? Like 6, but they like re-release all of them.
No, there's like 8, I think. I don't know.
But then they have the ones in between too, like Code Veronica.
I don't know. There's plenty of Resident Evil games.
Resident Evil
so
0. I don't know.
We're getting off topic. We should just wrap this.
No. This is the good part where we start ranting.
I don't know if my
obscure
phone will have
games.
enough memory space. So
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll cut it short. All right.
But,
like and subscribe to this guy's channel.
yeah, getting very close to 2,000 subs.
Yeah.
This Friday I got a really big video on the movie Hook that's gonna be on my friend's Jack's channel. So look forward to that. You should do a YouTube channel too.
It's true. We can review terrible 2000s new metal. I think it'd be good.
Hey, you know what? I
Or
watched
wine.
Equilibrium for the first time. That's a early 2000s movie. I'm just going all over the place in movies, just watching now. So
Well, we're good sometimes.
yeah. All right. Well, take care now. Bye bye then. We'll see
See
you
ya.
all in the next video. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.